What's going on, my friends? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome to all my regulars, my new followers, those who've just come across the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday the 14th, June 2025, with a world full of very, very confusing things going on. I hope that I reach the right people, and I hope that my message within the message is received well and understood by my audience. Today, I want to go through the daily or my weekly discovery playlist. This is a playlist that Spotify curates for me throughout the week based on what I've been listening to. This video will obviously be copyright flagged and demonetized based on its content. So the conversation and things that we talk about here will most likely just stay within the context of the video, and any other types of support would be most welcome. So we're just gonna, before I get into the playlist, I'm gonna go through a couple of other songs that I thought were pretty cool this last week, and we'll start with that, and then we'll come back and do some chatting once the algorithm and the notifications get sent out to my friends, because otherwise it's just me sitting here talking to myself, and that's not why I do this. Sitting around talking to myself is what I do most of the time. So I do live with an audience because I prefer not to be by myself and talking to myself. Trouble is, I'm on a little bit early on the weekends. Try to catch the European audience as well as some of the folks that are in the North American market. And I know that 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekend with lots of stuff going on, and right before Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Yeah, I'm here doing this, so we'll see what goes on in the timeline, and we'll see if anybody actually joins. Don't know what's happening with the algorithm these days. We all just have to do our best. So I've got chat saved. I believe chat will be saved afterwards, so that would be cool. Couple songs that kind of interest me in this last week were a song by Truth. I think I've added it to my playlist already. And it was like an incredibly bassy song. I thought the sound of the tune it was very surprising. It kind of took me back, and Truth sounded like I've never heard the group before. It's a little bit slower than I'm used to, so I'll play the intro sort of section of this song. It's something that I thought was like super, super cool, and I want to share it again, just a little clip, before we get into the weekly playlist, and then we'll go through about 30 songs for about 30 seconds each-ish, and then we'll just see what's interesting and what's not. So this is the intro for this song. This is Truth, the Illuminated. I've challenged some of my subwoofer and bass head buddies to like turn their subwoofers on and see how the song fares, because to be honest, I think some of the bass tones and textures in this song are much to be desired. Something that, like, if you have a really big system, this is really going to test your subwoofers. Now, it might not through the stream because of the quality, but if you look up the song and try it yourself, I'm sure that you'll be happy. So we're only going to do the first part of this, and then we'll flip it off. One of these days, I'm probably going to have to crank this up. So that's Truth. The song's called The Illuminated. Caught me off guard a little bit earlier this week. I thought, oh, this is really cool. It's interesting sort of textures and sounds that make it like pop. So that's one of them that caught me this week. And then what else did I hear? Turn that back down. Welcome to the viewers, whoever else is joining in here with me this week. I appreciate it as always. I know that it's a little bit of an odd time. Not everybody has the time to sit around and are on YouTube. I mean, most of my friends in the business and industry are doing their own thing, and I hardly see anybody sort of interacting. They're really busy. They've got schedules. I understand that. You know, it being Father's Day weekend, big day in the U.S. I heard a lot of stuff is going on in the U.S., so that's a little interesting. What other song did I see? There's something that came out this week. There's a new album by Fallujah, but I think that most of my audience isn't into metal, so I might have to hold off on that one. Although I did hear one of the songs today. I was out for a walk. I spent an hour or two out walking this week, and that felt really amazing. I felt like it was something that I really needed to get outside to actually go for a walk instead of like looking through my window at the outside world. So I went for a walk. It was really nice. Posted some images to my Facebook friends. What else? What else was it that I found? Anyways, without wasting time, I might as well just get into my Discover Weekly. I'm going to set the volume here, and then we're going to get into the playlist. So this is how it looks, basically, Discover Weekly. There's an hour and 47 minutes. It's roughly 30 songs. So I'll just skip through them a little bit at a time, whatever they sound like, and I'll deem a time that's appropriate. So that'll be the live stream content unless we get some chat, and then I'll fill in the blanks. All right, so let's hit the first song. We're just going to do random. Actually, we're going to do from the top down so I know where we are. Mike Dawes, incredible guitarist. No light show this weekend. I figured I'll just let the music speak for itself. Yeah, really nice tune. So Mike Dawes, that's one Scarlet. Let's hit next. Let's see what else is on the list. Okay. Some really funky guitars on that one. What is this? Maury Pringle, Ollie Steele. Ollie Steele I recognize as a guitarist. That's pretty cool. Sounds really awesome. This is on the weekly discovery list. We'll see what kind of songs and genres that they have for me this week. And if you like any of it, just check out the playlist, look up the songs, add it to a list, see what it sounds like at home. You know, it's not going to sound the same as on the phone, that's for sure. All right, next. Guardian Spirits. This is Action Boys. Owain. Yeah, this sounds like really funky progressive metal also. That's part of my joy every week. The stress relief that I have is coming home, having the HiFi system, and being able to just browse through new music and finding some stuff that's like really exciting, really uplifting, sounds incredible, something that's new. It's just music has that ability. It's like a reward system. Really incredible. Well, I realize my chair is actually back further than it normally is. All right, let's check out the next song together. Welcome to the 3 people that look like they're watching, and if you're watching on a TV, that's all good. I know you can't comment. So this one is Ray Love Trio, Past Midnight. Nice cover. Real jazzy. Smooth jazz. Just move my chair up. My listening position, the sound stage in width doesn't sound the same if my chair's back too far. Even 3 or 4 inches, it doesn't sound right. Good Lord, that speaker, what is that? I'll show you a little bit more in a second. Hang out for a second. Just moving my chair. All right, let me show you the room as well, right? So that's the room. I've got treatments on the side and on the ceiling. The lights, the preamp is there. So preamp, streamer, CD, and then the cables, the XLRs are running to the monoblocks, and then the speakers are Arundel 1723 THX. So there's our 4 8-inch woofers. Those are 8, and then there's the dome tweeter there. And then those are SVS subwoofers, SB1000 sealed enclosures. Three ports, you can use the plugs. See, there's plugs there. You can plug up the ports, change the tuning, by wire, plate. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, these are my favorites, absolutely. Based on the money, there's very few other speakers that you can buy that have this kind of performance for the price. I think they're in the 5,000-ish kind of range. Shamath De Silva is saying you're a top hi-fi guy, aren't you? Not, I wouldn't say top, no. Depends on what you mean by top. There's a lot of very well-educated guys. There's a lot of channels that have more subscribers. There's, you know, channels that run magazines. They've had decades of experience in the industry. So no, just because I have equipment doesn't make me a top person. I might have more knowledge than the average person, but that doesn't make me a top person. And speaking of audio, let's check out the next tune. This is Tub Club. That's funny. Regressor. Nightlit. Kinglet. Anyways, next tune. It's a discovery playlist. We're gonna check it out together. So I was obsessed with HiFi for some time, but that thing went away. I don't know why. Well, I can see why it went away in some sense, because it's not a high priority and it does get expensive, and you, at this rate, like, you kind of need a space for it, and to listen in a way you would need some time. So it's easy to get busy in life, and there's lots of other things that are important. So I can totally understand. Old Pioneer and Marantz, yeah, exactly. With the wood panels, the silver displays, AM/FM dials, the switches that were, you know, yeah, there's lots of that. It's still in the world, but you know, in the scope of audio, there's lots of options now, and it's overwhelming in a way. This is Faces in the Clouds. Karfgen? Sounds like a lot of progressive metal today. So that's the song we're listening to. Again, this is a discovery playlist. I'm on here basically every Saturday at the same time-ish, if you want to set a schedule. I stream for about an hour. I just play a lot of different songs. Sometimes it's really cool. It varies in different genres. Sometimes it's metal, jazz, funk, pop, all kinds of stuff. Drum and bass, dance music. I listen to all of it, and every once in a while I get some pretty cool stuff in here. The speakers are, I don't have my tape measure in here, it's about 45 inches tall, plus the isoacoustic stands that makes them a little bit taller. So they're about 45, if you look up online, they're Arundel, so ARENDAL 1723 THX towers. They are a 2.5 way, so the upper two woofers are mid-range, as well as bass. The bottom two are just bass, and then a soft dome tweeter. It's about 92 dB sensitive, so it doesn't take a lot of power. And in this room, it's a relatively small room, but I've got the subs there to offset the bass. Small rooms have problems with bass, and what you can do with subwoofers, and I have two of them, is you can change the phasing of the subwoofers versus the towers, and then the bass wherever you're sitting, like you can see me in the mirror there. Hello, that's why I have the mirror. It's not to show off my feet, otherwise I'd make people pay for that. The reason why it's there is you see the back of my amplifier, you see the power plug there, so I use the mirror to show off my gear sometimes. But also body language. You can tell I'm here speaking with you, and I move around when I'm talking. So yeah, 92 dB sensitive. It doesn't need a lot of power. I didn't even talk about this band. This is Distant Dream, A Touch of Sky. It's another progressive sort of sounding band. Second Class Citizen. It's interesting. Brand of the Amps. Thank you for the compliment there. Nice setup, says Daniel. I'm reading it as Daniel, but I know that the E has the like European sort of accent sound, so hopefully I'm getting that right. The amps are Buckeye amps. Buckeye is an American company who assembles amps in Ohio and sells them locally and around the world for a shipping cost. The amps are roughly 250 at 8 ohms, 500 into 4 ohms. They're PuriFi modules with an upgraded capacitor board. So there's 40,000 microfarad extra capacitance per amplifier with an upgraded power supply on the PuriFi 7040 modules. So it's got some of the cleanest Class D sound that you can get. Buckeye, what they do is order the module, and then they apply their own input and analog phase or analog input board along with the wiring and configuration, and then they sell it in the chassis. So you're basically getting similar, if not better sounding amplifiers than NAD, because they use PuriFi Egentalk amplifiers, and Marantz now uses PuriFi. So you're getting similar sort of sounding amplifiers from Buckeye Audio, but you're only paying a third of the cost, because one, the chassis is very simple, and they're not supporting a giant company. It's basically like one or two people at the company that builds everything. So pretty amazing stuff. What else is on the list? I get surprised sometimes. Self-titled Jericho song. This should be interesting. Yeah, the amplifiers are pretty basic. There's a low, mid, high gain button, XLR input, and speaker output. That's pretty much it. That's it. Just the XLR input, speaker output, and then I put my own power cable on it. You can see the lights inside for the capacitor boards and the power supply. And the reason why I like the Class D is, and I built these stands for them, they're just a cutting board with little feet. The reason why I like them is they run cool. They have amazing power, and they're cool to the touch. They don't run hot. So in summer, like we're in summer now, I'm not dying of heat in my room when I'm running my amplifiers. That's Jericho. So that's about a minute. Time to skip. Spacekeeper. This is a whole bunch of progressive metal today, it sounds like. I've been listening to a lot of different stuff lately as well. And, Fallujah's got a new album. Lorna Shore's got a new album. Sleep Token's playing Download Festival. There's a lot of progressive sort of sounding stuff that I've been listening to, so it's getting into my algorithm. I mean, we're basically everything we do online is tracked somehow for their ad revenue, and when you get into this stuff, it just knows. It's like, hey, here's something that's similar to what you've been listening to. So every week it's a little bit different because I don't stick to just one genre. So that's, progressive-ish. All right, let's skip. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. Abacus, this is dual technolique. That's a lot of bass. Wow. Do you want to connect your tablet directly to the system? No. It's right now I'm controlling the streamer. That's the Weem Pro Plus. And the Weem Pro Plus feeds into the preamp via coax, and then the DAC. The DAC is reading at 24,192, and then that's XLR out to the amplifiers. So it's better sounding through the streamer than it is casting from the tablet. Or if you use like a plug, the output from here to the preamp is actually doesn't sound as good as directly from the streamer. The streamer direct to the system actually sounds better. And yes, it's a Rotel 1592 Mark II, so it's a Texas Instruments DAC. I'm slowly working towards a Michi system, maybe, but like I just said, I like the Class D amps. The fact that these are like 8 pounds and I can pick them up with one hand and they run cool is a very, very good selling point to me. All right, let's change up this song. Cursed. This is Meniscus. Okay. Never heard this stuff before. But yeah, thanks for the questions. I appreciate everybody coming to hang out. And if it applies to you, happy Father's Day to anybody who's watching, listening, anybody who's celebrating, who has the opportunity to celebrate. I know some of us have either lost a parent, don't have our parents for whatever reason or another. There are lots of circumstances with life, but you know what? Make the best of it and celebrate what it is that you do have while the time that you do have it. Just want to be respectful and acknowledge that there's a day here for some people. Pretty relaxed sound. All right, I'm going to give it about a minute and then I'm going on. Avi Kaplan, Peace Somehow. That's pretty cool. I don't have a specific genre. Daniel's asking, what is your music genre? And I don't have one. I listen to everything. That's why this algorithm is mixed with all this different kind of music, because it's showing you a reflection of what I've listened to all week. And I'm sharing it with the audience so that if you want to hear it at home, then have a listen. Just look up the song and then play it at home. Copyright gods are going to demonetize the video. They're going to take, that kind of thing away, because it is copyright material. I'm not a radio station. I don't take requests. I mean, maybe I could, but I usually don't. And I just share new music that I find with my friends. And sometimes it's really interesting, and then sometimes it's a little bit, off the cuff. So let's move on. That's actually a pretty cool song. I like that one. 3 a.m. Nick DePiro. Sounds like a progressive guitarist, metal-ish. Have my drink here. Cheers to everybody who's got a drink going. It's a thermos cup that I keep the top off. It actually keeps ice in it with my drink for almost 24 hours. Highly recommended life hack. Oh, that's so good. You can hear the ice in it. Yeah, this sounds like the drop's coming. 47 seconds. Yeah, that's progressive metal-ish. Sounds like a guitarist solo album. So check that one out if you're interested. Let's move on to the next. Lunatic Soul, Navi. Sounds like Celtic, sort of Celtic-ish kind of music. Jack Daniels, cool. I'm a sober person, but I'm hooked on caffeine and sugars, so that counts for something. Oh, all of the substances do something. They don't all have to do the same thing, but yep. Cheers. This is a pretty interesting sound. Interesting sort of like laid back vocal there. Cool. Room 13, the flash bulb. This also sounds very progressive metalish. I guess my algorithm this week is just all the same, close to the same, which is not bad. I like hearing new music in each genre, so if that's how it goes each week, then it gives me an opportunity to check it out. I gotta say too that I retuned the subwoofers last week. The subwoofers were set at a certain phase limit, and I changed the volume of the subs, and then I changed their crossover point so I could get more low end and then clean up the upper bass. So 50 hertz and up in the room is a little problematic, and then low bass in the room doesn't really doesn't step in. So Daniel's asking, you're not into Apple Music? No, sir. I got a subscription to Qobuz because of industry stuff, and that's what I use. I mainly use Qobuz for most of my streaming, and I actually have my laptop right here, so I can just pop that up, and then I can stream now Qobuz with Qobuz Connect. There's my face. Hi. Yeah, so I use Qobuz for all my playlists here. Yeah, so that's how I stream most of my music, is using Qobuz Connect. So if you look down here in the corner, I can select from the speakers. I can actually Qobuz Connect to my streamer at 24 or whatever. So there you go. I got my Denon in the other room as well. But we're not using that right now. Night Whisper, chill mix. This is all going to be down-tempoed, slow, kind of bassy music. That's cool. Yeah, I have Apple Music. I have Apple TV. I run a Mac. That is a Mac computer, MacBook. I do. This is an Apple iPad, which is ironic because I don't use Apple Music. The reason why I don't use Apple Music is once upon a time, and don't tell anybody in the industry, but once upon a time I had these apps called like Napster and LimeWire and Pirate Bay. And let's just say I put a giant library into iTunes, Apple Music, whatever you want to call it. And because of their licensing and paying and schedule and whatever, that platform reached into all my files and decided to delete some shit. And I was like, no, I don't like that. You just, all these automatic smart apps doing their own thing. Like, that's the reason why I have a CD player. And I have lots of CDs. I like the idea of being able to control and having access to my own music supply at any time without an internet connection, without some company or some third party or someone, whatever, wherever, stepping in and saying, hey, this song's not available this week, tough shit. And like, well, pardon me. Like, didn't I pay this month? Didn't I pay every other month for a subscription? Can I not own my own music without some company telling me or renting the access? It's pretty annoying, to be honest. CDs definitely need to make a comeback in a strong way, because I don't want to see, doesn't matter what people's preferences are or what kind of music or streaming, whatever, I don't want to see people going without their music. If music means so much to people, you should be able to own it and play it at any time. It just makes sense.
2, 3, 4.
All them witches mellowing. We're just gonna zip through. This is the weekly discovery list. Each of my streams every week, I'll have like a theme. I tend not to deviate from the theme, because those who show up or see the title are going to expect certain content. Now I can touch on certain things if you guys have questions, more questions, and I do appreciate everybody hanging out. It's definitely better with people than without anybody. So I appreciate all that support, and hopefully, as I've said in many of my videos, hopefully some of the information I can share is meaningful and helps in some kind of way. Doesn't necessarily have to be audio, because on my channel I like to talk a lot about just being a human being and facing what we do in life. That's not always what people want to hear, but I'm open to it. That's the other half of my namesake here on the YouTube. The Sci-Phonics name, the Sci part means psychology. The phonics part obviously means sound. Intro, a blaze distant star. The re-stoned? It's like refried beans. So, I mean, we've had like at least 5 different genres so far. My release radar list, mind you, is much more aggressive. Lots more fun on the release radar. I'll probably go through some of those afterwards, depending on how many people are here. This one's pretty laid back. Let's get on with the song. Wes Borland. Wes Borland, if you know, is probably the same artist that played guitar for Limp Bizkit for a long time. This might be his album. I'm not really sure, unconfirmed, but I recognize the name. Could be. Very well could be, because I know the band recently announced that they're not going to be performing together anymore. They recently just did a tour with Metallica, I think. And I think after that tour, they just called it. And I think that Wes Borland might be out on his own now, doing his own music. So more into the instrumentals. Yeah, this is almost all instrumentals today. There's hardly been any vocals at all, which is wild. It's about a minute. Sorry, Wes. We got shit to do. Sourdrome? Sourdrome? Philly, Fidu? I think that's right. I'm trying to read like through 2 angles. I think I got that right. It's all instrumental. Now that you mention it, that's a very interesting... That's what this playlist is. You see, like this is the weekly discovery. So it's like weekly mixtape of fresh music, new music, and deep cuts picked for you, updated every Monday. So this isn't necessarily my list, but that's what it's playing for me this week. Every week this is different. That's why I'm showcasing it on a weekend basis, to just talk about, like, say, hey, this is what's new on the playlist. And then out of the 30 songs, maybe the audience that I reach might find something interesting. 1 out of 30 songs could be pretty cool. Sort of the beauty of streaming is that you don't have to pay for an album and then not like everything on the album. You can pay for streaming and just revisit the songs, and that's pretty cool. But if you find something that you really like and you really want to hold on to it, I would definitely recommend trying to get it on a CD or otherwise. Not only does it support the artist more, it's also more secured, and it can't be sort of taken away from you in any kind of way. So it's very laid back sort of sound. Let's see. Bliss, Larry, Basilio, Laurie. It looks like a female, right? Like, I guess that's Laurie. Guitarist. Pretty cool. Great recording. I don't know what the sound is like on the other end of the stream, but it's certainly worth it in here. Another reason why I put the title on screen, so you can check this out on your own if it's interesting. If it's not interesting, then, you know, 10 to a, you know, 30 to a minute seconds later, I'll just change the song. Doesn't matter how good it is. We are browsing, that's the whole point. Jan Karaka? Wow, what a name. Guitar Heroes. Interesting. I never learned how to play guitar all that much. I did play the drums for a long time, but it's not like as musical as a guitar. Some people will joke around and say the drummers are not really musicians. I can accept that. Pretty cool sounds though. It's recorded very well. Abyss by Wiljan. This might be very sort of atmospheric, down tempo as well. Or it could be metal. It's hard to tell at this point. Daniel's saying, I listen to instrumentals most of the time, but this week I'm into Daft Punk. Also pretty good. Most of the stuff is instrumental as well. Not a lot of them have a lot of lyrics. Some of the newer stuff sounds more like lyrical songs, but their older stuff was mostly just EDM electronic with like repeated words as a chorus, but it wasn't really like lyrical songs. Ooh, there's a lot of bass in that one. That's going in my playlist. Lots of bass in that one. Wiljan. Really, really cool. Alright, next one. Strawberry Girls. This might get interesting. Sounds like it's got a lot of energy in it. Yeah, pretty interesting. A lot of guitar stuff this week, too. Fend for Yourself, Pineapple Thief. Interesting. Mountains of Arizona, I believe. The Plateau Mountains? I don't know what they are. Pretty good blend of songs. Not a lot that's exciting. Maybe one or two so far. But that's the way it goes. Not every week is exciting. I gotta fill in the excitement with some conversation. A lot of the stuff this week I don't even want to talk about. All the updates in the news in certain places. I'm like, nah, I don't want to get into that. Pretty cool playlist though. I always return to music to help me feel more relaxed. High Color, Little Mary. This sounds like a chillax track as well. Elevator music, as some people would call it. You know, playlist that you'd fall asleep to. Not bad. Tugrel? Is this where we started? Tugrel? You see the beginning of the playlist. Nope. I don't know what that is. Where are we here? Play it. I don't hear anything. What is happening? Oh, it's just quiet. Interesting. So this is Okra? Sounds very sort of like orchestral piano, but then the artwork looks like dinosaurs and fish. What is happening? Sounds very psychedelic. Lots of bass in the song. Sounds very, very interesting. Yeah, some of this music this week is really slow. It's not my normal pace. I like faster music. Much faster music. Actually, that's too slow. It's boring me, and I'm just sitting here. So now we're at the beginning. That's funny. All right, I guess that's it. Let me go to my release radar, and I want to play something that just came out. We're going to do Obsidian Architect by Fallujah. Now, this is a metal tune. It's going to be aggressive. Some of the work in here, the tones, what they're trying to achieve with this album is actually pretty incredible. So even as a metal album, I think that this has a lot of potential. It's recorded very, very well. They do an incredible job. So hang out for a bit. Let's hear this one, and then we'll switch to something else. Pretty interesting so far. Very dissonant chords. Yeah, this is a brand new album. Just came out the other day, Friday the 13th. Sounds any different there, you can let me know if it cleaned up a little bit. It's a very aggressive band. Let's switch to something else. This is Sincato. Sincato's got some incredible music on his latest album. I think this will be more pleasing for more people. It's less aggressive, and I know that last one was a little bit off the wall. Pretty laid back as well. There's a couple songs on here that I want to play, actually. Some of the ones that are in the middle. So the Enai song, Vaski, Levela, Hato. I'm going to play some of those. The first one, this is more... I think that this one's more my pace of song. It's more like UK drum and bass, upper tempo sort of vibes. Lots more energy. So it's something you wouldn't fall asleep to. I grew up in the 90s, 80s, 90s, listening to some of the early drum and bass. So I still appreciate its sound now. When I hear new songs, I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool. It's very, very textured stuff. It's way more aggressive. Like a sci-fi movie.
Run. Run.
Interesting. I have a feeling they're taking a poke at some of the recent health news with this one. Let's check this one out by Levela. Song's called Hopeless. Level with an A on the end. That's interesting. Songs and artist names that don't really mean anything. The last few might not be in everybody's interest, but it's to mix it up. The last playlist was pretty much all instrumental progressive metal, and this is going to be a little bit different. Generally, this artist plays some pretty exciting music. Now, like I say, it's not everybody's genre, but I also think that it has its place for demo music. I mean, let's face it, how many people listen to Ghost Rider on their own at home? Most of the time, it's just a demo song. Bit of flavor. Yeah, I installed the lights a couple weeks ago. I think it makes a significant difference in the experience, depending on what you're listening to. Some people may not like it. I think it's pretty cool. Alright, let's see what else is on this list. We'll find one more. We're gonna play Hato. Came out with his own song recently. It's kind of got the same kind of vibes. And then we'll get out of here. If there's not any more questions, we'll let everybody go for the Saturday. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
It's too late. You've been on in the way. I feel it the same way, same way. It's too late. You made me wanna risk it all. If I fall for you, I lose it all. Then they say don't get attached. Do you wanna get it back? Call that vibe again. We call that again. Stay that night again.
roll out for the rest of the stream on some drum and bass. We'll give a couple minutes at the end towards the last part of the hour for questions. And if everybody's just kind of had enough, then we can call it a day. That's exciting. Pretty good song. I like this. It is what it is. Yeah, and just like that, we got almost an hour of a stream just gone by live, and I appreciate my friends coming to say hello and check it out. I know that not every Saturday I get every audience. I know that a good friend of mine in Denmark hardly ever gets the notifications, and then being at such a nice weekend, such really, really nice weather outside. I mean, where we are here, the weather is actually really, really nice. Really cool breeze, not a lot of sun. Pretty clear temperatures. We're looking at, there you go. You can actually see everything. Look at that. Oh, there's my area, whatever. It's only 22, 21, and not a lot of winds and temperatures. Pretty good. Feels good here. Pretty good over the next couple of hours, and really nice overnight. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of the evening, and we're just gonna chill out, have some fun with the rest of the music. I'm gonna listen to some other stuff, see if I can't find some other really cool playlist songs. Always on the hunt for demos, but also diving into like old music, like Prince and Queen, and like libraries from older artists, stuff that I've just never heard before. There's so many pop songs that are played by these artists, David Bowie, but I don't hear anything else on their albums, so I have to go digging for it. And I've been really enjoying that lately. Much easier with Qobuz Connect now that I can just browse on the computer and play what I want that way. So it's been pretty good. I appreciate the audience that comes, that enjoys. If there's a song that you listen to in the stream and you like it, please let me know. Always comment in the section. That's appreciated. Just feedback is more welcome than anything else. Like it, don't like it. If something was good, something was misquoted, whatever the case may be, let me know. So yeah, Arundel Towers, SVS subs, Buckeye amps, the Rotel, and the Weem Pro Plus. A lot of the guys give me some shit in comments, be like, you didn't talk about this system, we don't know what the gear is. I'm like, sorry about that. You know, I don't have 200 videos of me talking about it. Most of the descriptions are already out there, so if you really want to know, then that's cool. All right, anyways, that's enough for me. I don't have much else to say, otherwise I'll just be filling in time with some random talking points. It's been almost an hour. It's 53 minutes here. That was my weekly playlist according to Spotify. Some of the other tunes that I thought were interesting. The stream will obviously get gobbled up by the copyright laws, so no monetization on this one. I'm not advertising, I'm just sharing my playlist. But I will see you next week. I will most likely be exactly here in the same spot at the same time-ish, depending on what happens. I've been looking forward to doing some photography gigs. It's hit or miss. A lot of businesses now are trying to figure out what they want from the world and what they want from media, changing their websites, stuff like that. So if I get some work, then I won't be here. Otherwise, I'll be in the house just chilling, and it is what it is. So for me to you, take care, listen to some music. You don't need to upgrade, just tweak a little bit, move some stuff around, make it look special. And report back here Saturday. We'll do another round of playlist listings and song discovery and all that kind of stuff. And we'll check in. Cool. All right. I'll see everybody in the next video. Take care of yourselves.
Monsters!